Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I'm Lunar D8. OBS Chen seems working just fine. Let's hop into this, shall we? I was surprised just that you'd heard of Onagafushi Village, Kei-chan, but you seem to know a lot of things, both true and false, about me too. Yeah. True and false. I really might just have the wrong impression here, but I'm okay with that, so listen. And if it really is true, I don't know what you're getting at, Kei-chan, but let me say this beforehand. You've got a big misunderstanding. So if it were possible, I wouldn't want to hear what you're about to say, because even if you said it, I can't do anything to help you. Still, if talking about it will lighten your burden even a little, I'll listen. I'm only just going to listen. Nothing more will happen. Are you okay with that? Yeah. Mion seemed to know what kind of thing I'd be talking about. She warned me that doing so would be fruitless. That much was obvious. If what I was going to say was true, then the Sonozaki family would be the masterminds behind the string freak death incidents that had been occurring every year in Hinamizawa. You know that stuff about Oyashiro-sama's curse, right? Mion nodded a little. No one knows what it is or why it happens. Even if each incident is solved, the string of deaths and accidents as a whole is still a mystery. But there's one thing connecting them all, and that's how the targets are always enemies of the village. Seems like it. Mion spoke as if it didn't relate to her. That was fine. She didn't have to admit it. For now, I just wanted her to stay quiet and listen to me. The day after tomorrow it's Watanagashi, isn't it? Has the sacrifice of this year's curse been decided already? Mion didn't answer. Her expression remained the same, too. Like she said, she was just quietly listening. Sorry, the promise was that you'd just listen, so it's weird for me to ask a question, huh? Mion gave me a look she'd never given me before, a faraway look. A sympathetic one. She didn't nod, she just smiled faintly and listened to me. If this year's curse isn't going to be on Satoko's uncle, then please change it to him. I mean, last year it was her aunt, right? It's in the right order, so it wouldn't be weird. You're right, it seems like there is an order. I mean, after her aunt died to the curse last year, he abandoned Satoko and fled into town for a whole year. Why wouldn't a guy like that definitely be next to Oyashiro-sama's list? There shouldn't be an issue with choosing him for this year. I see. If he were to die from the curse this year, then no one would see anything unusual about it. I heard that Oyashiro-sama's curse is, well, no matter how I looked at it, I wasn't sure whether I should continue. No matter how I tried, the words wouldn't come out. The string of freak deaths in Hinamizawa also called Oyashiro-sama's curse. You're saying they're incidents perpetrated by the village, carried out by the three families at the Sonozaki's instructions. Is that it? I don't care one bit whether you have anything to do with it. I'm just saying, if you have any way of communicating with whoever decides the targets of the curse, then I just want you to tell them to choose Satoko's uncle. Please. Everything you've been saying has been terrible. If the freak death incidents in Hinamizawa were carried out by the will of the Sonozaki family, that would mean the main culprit would be me, wouldn't it? I would have chosen the target of the curse, given the instructions, killed many people, and gotten rid of others. You're calling me a murderer, Kei-chan. It's kind of odd you're still smiling while saying that, though. I didn't say that. Didn't you listen to me? I don't care whether you're the one behind the murders or not. I just don't. Even if you were the culprit, it doesn't change the fact that you're my friend. It doesn't matter at all. If the police were chasing you, I'd come to help. I'd make you an alibi and even help you escape, because we're friends and comrades. The main difference in the previous arc was you kind of killed some of our friends. That was the problem. Honestly, maybe if you hadn't, like, straight up killed Rika and Satoko, who knows? Also, eventually me and Shion, but by then you were a ghost. Aren't we, comrades? Mion looked surprised for a while. She was dumbfounded. Now you're declaring yourself complicit. Kei-chan, that's pretty bold of you. Well, I mean, I did basically just ask you to put out a hit on someone. So even if I'm not the one directly doing it, I'm still guilty. Come on, don't interrupt. Satoko's uncle chews him before... Stop right there, Kei-chan. I want to start dinner soon, so I'd like to leave things at this. But Mion... I then realized that my cheeks were wet with tears. They slid down my chin and fell, drip-drop, to the tatami mat. It's like I said at the start. You got a big misunderstanding. Oishiro-sama's curse is just that. Even if there were people behind those incidents, they don't have anything to do with the Sonozaki family or me either. And that's the thing. Each of these time loops, not only do we have like differences that are occurring during each time loop where things happen differently during the time loop, but I strongly think that both things in the earlier lives of the people involved, as well as things from decades ago, are getting changed from time loop to time loop. Basically, we're saying people have these complicated backstories, but the complicated backstories for the characters, their own character bios, or even the background of the village itself can be changed at any time. It's like the Mandela effect, but, you know, visual novel. Right. I understand that, it's just... It was touching to hear such a desperate plea, Kei-chan, but that's all it was. Even if I wanted to help, I can't. You understand that too, right? Yeah. But now I know how you feel, so well it hurts. If I really were, like you said, the one controlling 3 families to choose and sacrifice every year, I'd probably grant your wish. Mion, but the reality is different. I'm just Mion Sonozaki. My family may be subject to all sorts of bad rumors about controlling Hinamizawa from the shadows. And that's the thing. It's like not only are there different paths when it comes to each time loop, to where, like, you know, there's new people being involved, and new things occurring, and new people, like, different person's turn to be the one going crazy. But there's also in each time loop, the background and backstories to the city and the individuals are different. For example, in the previous time loop, Mion had actually been directly responsible for the murders for the past few years, just as we had insinuated here. But in this time loop, she literally has nothing to do with it at all, and she is completely innocent. Same way, and there's other time loops where there's a background story to where, you know, 5 decades ago, people's grandparents were involved in shady issues with human flesh being sold in cans. Whereas in this time loop, that never happened. So not only are things changing in each loop, and things are happening in different orders, or individual people have different things going on with them in their own personal lives, as well as different people are being affected by Oishiro-sama's curse differently, and different people are succumbing to Hinamizawa syndrome in different situations. But also, like, in the previous time loop, Mion had actually been, you know, responsible for committing murder on multiple occasions before that current time loop even started in the backstory, as well as things that happened according to the story, you know, 5 decades ago with her grandpa. Whereas in this time loop, that shit didn't happen. For example, in the previous time loop, Mion actually has a giant-ass fucking demon tattoo on her back, like Hanayama from Baki the Grappler. Whereas in this time loop, she may have never gotten that tattoo. In fact, no one may have gotten that tattoo. For example, in the previous time loop, it was part of the backstory that the heirs of the Sonozaki family all have that giant-ass fucking tattoo on their back. So her and her grandma both have a giant fucking demon tattoo on their back. But in this time loop, none of that's occurred. So in this time loop, she doesn't have a tattoo, and her grandma doesn't have a tattoo. So things from the past that are considered a canon event now suddenly exist differently. So it's not just things occurring during the time loop that's changing, or even backstories that are things that occurred maybe a year or two before the time loop. In each time loop, Oyashiro-sama can freely change things that happened decades and decades and decades before any of the characters were even born. Basically, you're changing fate, you're changing just the environment around people, which generates different outcomes. Now, it doesn't mean that the Mion in this time loop or the other Mion in the other time loops are any more or any less Mion than any of the others. Technically, these are all different shades, I guess I would say. Like if we're describing people as colors, it's just a different variation of the same exact person. I guess another way you could look at it is looking at I don't know, what about actors? Like Patrick Stewart. You could also say his role as Xavier, but is also his role as Jean-Luc Picard. They're technically both him, and, well, you see in both characters facets of the actual personality of Patrick Stewart. As well as you can go way back to when he had hair, and you can actually see him doing Shakespearean Broadway acting. Then again, that's the main thing he was doing early on. That's because it was something he's very passionate about. But I'm just saying this. The Kiichi, how do I pronounce it? Each of the characters from each time loop, no matter how much the time loop background story has changed, each one are equally the same person. Just exploring different situations and circumstances that perhaps bring out different aspects of people. Especially since some of the time loops involve very stressful situations or even actually being possessed by spirits or having brain parasites. And everyone's like, oh, which theory do you prescribe to? And technically all of them. Because each time loop, it's changed what it is. And it can even be all of them at the same time. But we have nothing to do with the freak death instance. We may have been a little extreme during the Dam War, but that's all. We would never do something so insane as to kill people. And that's the thing. In the original time, in the first timeline game, you know, Mion was outspoken about the Dam stuff, you know, when she was younger, but, you know, she never hurt anybody. But she was very outspoken about it. But she never actually hurt anybody. In the second timeline, she was outright murdering people years before we met. In this timeline, the Sonozaki family as a whole is much more benevolent and less murdery. Everyone's like, that's not how you... I don't care. Don't say such sad things. Right now, at least, I don't care. Why can't you just be nice and lie to me? Well, Kei-chan, you're free to believe what you like. If I lied to you now, you'd be convinced Satoko would be freed the night after tomorrow, and you'd be able to shed much of your burden. However, reality is harsh. Satoko's uncle will survive beyond that. He'd still be alive next week and the week after that. You need to prepare yourself for that. I don't want you coming to me the day after Watanagashi and demanding to know why he wasn't killed. Mion? Mion stood up slowly and closed the sliding door to keep out the wind that had grown chilly. Was it Mio-san? Did she give you all those ideas? She really likes to misunderstand things about Hinamizawa. Well, we can't let her have her fun. But I don't really want her influencing you, Kei-chan. Though it is kind of odd that, one, you were able to guess who it was that said that, but also, how did you know I even encountered that person? Jeez, this is why outsiders are no good. Takano-san has nothing to do with it. Right, don't worry. Even though I know she told you about it, Kei-chan, nothing's going to happen. It's not like Mio-san will be chosen for this year's curse. Besides, we don't even know for sure if the curse will happen this year. Maybe we'll just pile of an unfortunate coincidences. Thanks for listening. If you aren't connected to the Zero Dust at all, then that must have been an uncomfortable conversation. I'll apologize for it. I see. You'll apologize for it. Ha ha ha. Mion said she didn't have much time, but she still brought me to the gate. She said she had a meeting or something today about Sunday's Watanagashi festival, so there would be a lot of people from town council and the festival committee coming. Despite her day being so busy, she still listened to what she had to say. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it, Mion. If there's a God in heaven, then he probably understands how strongly you feel. Yeah, I'm really sorry for being so weird today. You can pretend like this discussion never happened if you want. Okay, I'll forget about it. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. I had really only spent a short time with Mion. Talking to her made me think. It was clear that what Takano-san had told me, at least, wasn't a complete fabrication. If Mion was really unconnected to the incidents, then she probably wouldn't have listened to me so quietly. She heard me out until I was done without making any quips, and I wanted to think that was proof. I mean, I'll say this. Kinda odd that she would be listening with a smile on her face when I'm making a statement that it would imply that she'd be involved in murder. I mean, you would think most people would have a much more, not necessarily yelling at me expression, because, I'm your friend and I'm not doing it to be offensive. I'm doing it out of emotional desperation. But I imagine you would be feeling a bit sad and confused. Like, you wouldn't be lashing out about it, but you would be a little like, what? Oh. Huh. That's okay. No, I didn't think that was proof. I did kind of feel like I was grasping at straws. Of course, thinking back on it, it was a terrible thing to discuss. I mean, I went to my friend's house, called her a serial murderer, and then told her to kill Satoko's uncle. I was the only one talking the whole time. Mion quietly listened to everything I had to say like a pastor listening to a confession. She could have gotten angry partway through, told me off, and go wash my face in miso soup and come back later. And I mean, yes, it would be understandable for her to be angry, but at that point, here's the thing. It'd be one thing to be angry if someone was saying that to you as an accusation or to be rude. But if it's your friend literally crying to saying that to you and saying it because they're desperate, well, you're their friend and you're just listening to them because you actually care about their well-being. And you're glad they're at least being honest to how about they feel. But I would also imagine you'd be a little bit sad at the insinuation and perhaps confused. But she didn't. Was that proof that Mion's family and Sotazaki's were the masterminds? Or was she just listening because she felt sorry for me, kind of going crazy? Kind of. Air quotes, kind of. I didn't know which it was, but it was the one effort I could make at that moment. It was another form of insurance. Should worse come to worse, the public agency decided to wait and see. It was a completely useless resistance, literally grasping at straws. Sensei said that if she reported it to Child Consultation Center, they'd have to respond the same day. Could they already be in the middle of responding to it now? If Sato came to school tomorrow morning all energetic, then everything would be just a needless fear. Why couldn't tomorrow come faster? That night was unusually hot and humid. I couldn't get any sleep. Did we even say hi to our parents? I said all that to Sensei. They couldn't possibly decide to wait and see it. Satoko, what was it like for her tonight? Did we just come home and decide we're super tired and go straight to bed? Satoko, what was it like for her tonight? Had she tasted the end of her nightmare, enjoying a night of liberation? I actually put my hands together and prayed into my futon. Well, to be completely clear, I imagine if Satoko was suddenly back over at Rika's, was, Teppei had been taken away, I assume Satoko would choose to call me. Did we see our parents at all? It's morning. Unless our parents were suddenly away on a business trip, it's kind of weird that we did not see anything of them at all. Did we literally just go home, lay in bed and worry, go straight to sleep, then wake up and then go straight out because we're so worried about, are we even eating? Do I look physically different to anyone? I'm not exactly eating. And I don't even know if, we have not, one, shouldn't we have thought it was a little weird we didn't see anything of them this morning? And, if they went to business, that you think they'd want to check up on us or something. Good morning, Keiichi-kun. Morning. That was pretty short. Thank goodness. I thought you overslept today, too. Your mom said you'd gone on ahead yesterday, and then you weren't at school. Okay, so my parents were home. They thought I had left. And then when I woke up, they were gone. And then today, I was worried that you had gotten heat stroke halfway there. Yeah, I'm very sorry for all the worry I caused you yesterday. Mian, why did you, blink? Hey, good morning. Hey, good morning. Mi-chan, good morning. Wow, you really stink of liquor. You'll get found out for sure. Oh, right. Wasn't there a big business meeting with all the people of the town council yesterday? They only called it that. It was more like a party. We have the festival every year, right? We wouldn't have any annoying meetings at this point. Are you going to help with the festival this afternoon, then? Yep. I have to do a meet and greet with all sorts of people in Grandma's place. Besides, they already started setting up for the festival. Setting up for the festival. Our morning conversation was lighthearted as usual. It looked like Mian had thankfully forgotten about how I'd barged into her house yesterday with that crazy talk. Did we go talk to Mian, or did we just imagine that? Were we just in the woods talking to a squirrel? The more I think back on it, I felt like I'd really said something terrible to her. I was really thoughtless, and it wouldn't have been weird if she yelled at me. It was highly possible Takano-san had exaggerated her story. To think our comrade and friend Mian, the young leader of the Sonozakis, one of the three families effectively controlling Hinamizawa, was pulling the strings behind the serial death incidents was a little unbelievable. But if there was even a 1% chance that it was true, then what I said yesterday, Mian, might have been a success. Yes, it was no more than 1 in 100. But that little bit of effort might have brought the chances of saving Satoko up by even a little bit. At least, I'd made that effort. After yesterday ended, I was sure I'd done everything I possibly could. If there was something else I could do, it was probably just to clap my hands and pray that Satoko's uncle would be killed by the curse. I hope Satoko makes it today. Me too. Sensei is doing things for her, right? I'm sure it'll be fine. My aunt is a welfare agent in Hinazawa district. I gave her a call last night. Thank you. I appreciate it. Still probably should have told my parents, but I think they're dead now. Huh? I didn't know your aunt was a welfare officer. What happened? Did you tell her about Satoko-chan? Yes. Yep, Chie-sensei called the child consultation center right after we talked to her. A child welfare officer apparently visited before the night was over. My aunt said that they were going to pay visits at regular intervals from now on. Enough with the dumb little stuff. I want to know what happened to Satoko. Did they get her safe? My aunt wasn't that informed about it. I was supposed to keep this a secret anyway. Her telling me was a big breach of ethics in the first place. Damn, that makes me feel even worse. Let's get to school. Right. Discussing this more would just make us feel worse. It was far quicker to go to school and see if Satoko was safe or not. The three of us nodded and ran off. Was Satoko safe? What measures had the Child Consultation Center taken? I didn't care what, as long as we could go back to our peaceful life with Satoko today. It didn't matter to me. At the shoe racks at the entrance, Rena took a peek in Satoko's shoe cubby. Ah, Satoko's shoes are here. They're here. Kei-chan, Satoko came. Everything's gonna be okay. Thank goodness. We don't know if anything happened just because she came to school. We can't know anything until we see her face. We trotted towards the classroom. The classroom was lively as it usually was in the morning. Satoko, where are you? Meep. She's right here. It's too early in the morning to be so loud. Would you please keep it down a bit? Satoko-chan, are you okay? All of our friends crowded around Satoko excitedly. A probation officer came, right? How did it go? Who was it that called them? I swear, it was quite a mess, you know? It was the teacher. You were absent for so long, of course she was worried. Satoko said, I told you I'm fine, under her breath. She was still trying to overcome all the suffering on her own. It was a big bother to both me and my uncle. That person just barged on in on us suddenly, geez. Everyone was worried about you, Satoko. Don't say it was a bother. Ah, geez. Anyway, what happened? Nothing happened. Ho ho! My cold got better, so I came to school, that's all. I can't take too much time off now, because then you all worry about me, because everything's perfectly fine, and I'm just going to pretend I'm completely okay, and see, I'm all good. Ho ho! What was Satoko saying? What happened to, your uncle? Oh, he admitted there were some misunderstandings, and we both apologized. Tug. Rika-chan grabbed the back of my collar and pulled me away. But what is it, Rika-chan? Rika-chan silently dragged me all the way to the hallway. Rika-chan, what did that mean? Satoko said nothing was happening and chased them away. That idiot. But why? No, somewhere in mine I thought it might turn out like this. Satoko didn't ask for anyone's help. She didn't hide behind anyone. She was trying to ride out this pain. She wanted to show Satoshi proof that if he came back to them, she wouldn't need to hide behind him anymore. But, coach said probation officers can bring her to safety in an emergency even if it's against her wishes. However much Satoko denies the abuse, it's a fact. Chie-sensei finally came. Her expression was far from cheerful. Yes, you're right, Maburo-kun. If the child welfare officer determines that it's an emergency, they might have the right to immediately take them to safety, regardless of the affected party's intent. Then why? Why is Satoko's intent being respected so much? It's weird. Why don't they put her to safety? Well, after the person in charge at the Child Consultation Center looked into it from many angles, they determined... What the hell is that? Sensei, didn't you say it was going to be alright, since you definitely save her? What's the meaning of this? This doesn't make any sense. Answer me, damn it. Keiichi, this is actually the third time someone has reported Satoko's child abuse. It happened twice in the past, too. Furude-san. Sensei tried to stop her, but Rika-chan went on speaking anyway. Twice before? I heard they decided to wait and see after reporting the winter before last, but it happened before then, too? Satoko's father, who died, wasn't her real father. Okay. What? Rika-chan, that's... What? I'm stunned at the sudden revelation. I had no idea that Rika-chan wanted to tell me, but it seemed really important, so I couldn't get a word in either. Satoko's mother remarried. She brought Satoko and Satoshi with her, so they weren't related by blood to their father. Satoshi was a good kid, one who listened politely to what adults told him. Okay, so... And Teppei is the brother of... Is he the... Okay, so is he actually the blood brother of the dad or the stepfather? I assume still the biological... And even then, does Satoko even have a memory of her biological dad at that point? Is he dead? What occurred here? He immediately welcomed by their new father and was loved. But Satoko was different. She was rebellious, she told lies, she played pranks. Her stepfather didn't like it at all. What? So, what do you mean? Even before she was given to their uncle and his wife, Satoko didn't have a very good relationship with her family. Of course, her stepfather didn't have any malicious intent at the start. At first, he must have worked hard to get his new daughter to accept him. But the young Satoko didn't make any effort at all towards the end. She was distant towards her stepfather and never opened her heart to him even a little bit. She just got on his nerves all the time with seeming forced lies and pranks. Her father's discipline and punishment must have been loving at first, of course, but that too faded quickly. I don't know because I wasn't in Hinamizawa at the time, but I learned this on the phone yesterday. What story did you hear, Sensei? That Satoko-chan wanted to trick her parents, especially stepfather, so she inflicted wounds on herself so she could make up a false story about abuse. And that she sent out an SOS herself. She made up a story about hurting herself. Satoko made a fake phone call to try and get rid of the father she hated. Child welfare officers rushed there and heard the story. Her father genuinely apologized to her a few times when he had gone too far and agreed to let the child welfare center give him coaching. Related agencies looked into it quite a bit. They determined Satoko-chan and her stepfather's hearts not being quite matched up was the cause of the incident. But they found another problem above that with Satoko-chan. A problem with Satoko? What was it? Satoko's mother. There were a few times where she had lived with de facto husbands, though those relationships didn't result in remarriage. So, okay, that's a thing. From a young age, Satoko had been forced to call at least 2 or 3 people her father. At some point, Satoko's pranks escalated. She would spill food on purpose, turn over her plate, and even throw it. Did the original dad die? She would break the windows in the neighborhood and shoplift candy. She would put thumbtacks everywhere and set other traps to seriously hurt people. I mean, we have actually seen very, very, very dangerous traps in the mountains that could very well kill people. Not in the way she did now, just to get laughs. She was also fond of telling lies that would be found out right away, and people got mad at her every time. But she never ever changed her behavior. Please don't think Satoko-chan was a problem child. Satoko-chan was young. It was an act of self-defense that she had to take against the unknown men her mother had chosen. In regards to Satoko's problematic behavior, child psychology experts from public institutions indicated her actions were to draw her mother's attention to herself. They acknowledged that she had a form of harmful emotional trauma and declared that she needed counseling and therapy from professionals. They didn't know whether that therapy had healed the wounds in her heart. Satoko-chan purposely hurt herself and told them that she was being abused by her stepfather in an attempt to chase him out. But, in the end, her stepfather did abuse her, right? No. All of the abuse had been made up by Satoko-chan. Her stepfather, of course, may have scolded her in a somewhat emotional way, but it was nothing out of the ordinary. Satoko had lied to chase away her stepfather, and they saw through her right away, and found out that Satoko had issues. Oh, could it be that's why the winter before last they decided to wait and see? Yes, the Child Consultation Center had all their past records, so they needed to act carefully in case Satoko was lying. What the hell? So what? Satoko might be telling a lie, so they needed to be careful? So how does that mean they'd just end up waiting and seeing? It was the girl who cried wolf. That fable about telling a lie once, making others unwilling to believe you later. But that's bullshit. The past has nothing to do with this, does it? Unfortunately, it does. And like I said, just that's a very, very unfortunate circumstance. Only what's really happening right now is important. And that's true, and Teppei is definitely doing stuff. Very bad stuff. But it's going to be much harder, if not downright impossible, for anyone to actually believe in this situation. Sato is being abused by her uncle. Why something like that happened in the past get in the way of helping her now? Neither Sensei nor Rika-chan had anything to say to that. Anyway, yesterday a probation officer visited carefully to determine what was going on. And Satoko dealt with them, put on the best, strongest smile she could manage, and denied the abuse. Okay, maybe that should actually get more, them taking it seriously. Because if she's known to be lying and all of a sudden she's vehemently denying she's being abused, even though she's covered in bruises, of course she was probably being threatened to keep quiet about it by her uncle. Satoko was trying to outlast everything without asking for help. Satoko wanted to wait for Satoshi to come back home, and she outright denied the truth of the abuse. What an idiot. What? You're not really enduring it. Do you really think pretending like this will actually bring Satoshi back? Just stop it already. Satoshi, he abandoned you. And the fact that he hasn't shown up to save you now is proof, isn't it? So just stop it, please. Stop being weird and pretending to endure it. Forget everything we just said. Understand? If you tell anyone else, your teacher will be very mad with you. Well, even if you didn't say that, this was, 1, told to me in confidence by Rika-chan, and 2, honestly, I find it really depressing, so I just don't think I have the energy to say it to anyone, even if I wanted to. Chie-sensei gave me a warning, then left to go back to the teacher's lounge. Keiji, please don't think Satoko is a pathetic, pitiful girl. She's living life. I know that. She's our irreplaceable friend. Satoko's still trying her best. Let's watch over her a little longer. The person from the consultation center said they'd visit periodically from now on. If something terrible happens, they'll help her right away. Yeah, but only after it happens. Any more than that would have sounded like I was picking a fight. So I firmly swallowed my next words and went back to the classroom. And that's the problem with that sort of stuff. People say, oh, you can fight for certain things and that. But at that point, it's only after a really bad thing would occur. And really, that's unacceptable. Especially given some things are dire and very, very bad, unwalkable back things. So, you have to always measure things very carefully. Not be blinded by your emotions and just think logically. It's just the way things are. Mian and Rena were talking to Satoko like they always did. It was a silly conversation, a humorous, even fun one like it was any old day. If Satoko really said she could still endure it, then maybe I should do as Rika-chan said and watch over her. Maybe whatever help I offer will just go unwanted. Okay, why don't we all have lunch? Meep. Meep. It's been a while since it's been all 5 of us. This really is how it has to be. Here, here. Come on, you too, Kei-chan. Bring your desk over here. Satoko brought her own desk over as well, grinning broadly. Even knowing nothing had been resolved, this exchange was pleasant and made me remember how fun it used to be. I can't have Rika making a bento for me forever. I don't mind. I have fun making your bento. Rika-chan's such a good girl. Having such a good friend must be so reassuring. I put in the big steak, and Satoko puts in the burnt stuff. So if it was just Satoko, it would be so sad, so very sad. Nipa. I take it back. Well, she's Rika-chan after all. Hey, come on, look. I've got omelet rice today. Mushrooms and stuff are delicious. Delicious, how? I say it every time, but your craftsmanship is splendid. You could become a wife whenever and not have a problem. A wife? A wife? Eating a wife? How? Using the word wife is totally forbidden around Rena. Please don't say it again. I'll think about what I've done. A little. By the way, what's in your lunch, Mian? It looks different again today. We're all waiting in anticipation. It's a rich assortment of side dishes left over from my uncle brought last night. The stew looks really great, huh? The color of the radishes, too. Really good, right? Wow, it looks delicious. Stew tastes best when it's left overnight. This looks like it would be really good, and so there'll be none left for Satoko. I'll eat it all and tell you what I think, so just be quiet and watch. What was that? Hand over my portion, too. Elbow, punch, headbutt. I'll use my knees, too. Arr. Ho, at close range like this, my advantage is unwavering. Keiichi-san, the daikon in your portion tastes really good. Damn it, coming right for me from the start and using a combo attack? How humiliating. This little exchange, how long it had been. It looked like they'd ended up going with the wait-and-see approach, but maybe her uncle had realized he had gone a little too far and would dial it back now. Naturally, it's certainly not like ellipses. If her treatment improved a little, Would that be a good thing? Satoko was grinning wider than I'd ever seen her as she chomped down on our mouthful of daikon she'd plundered from me. Did it really taste that good? How are we getting our bento? Where did we get our food from? Are our parents alive? Satoko was somewhat cute like that, and just as I had done many times, I grabbed her head and started petting it. Catch. Smack. Flip-flop, clatter-clatter. Hello? Huh? Satoko-chan? It was so sudden that for a moment I didn't know what had happened. The back of my hand was stinging. I went to pet Satoko's head, and then she hit my hand? But what's wrong, Satoko? Satoko was scratching at her head, as though a pimple or something had appeared on it and become itchy. It was so sudden and so unprovoked that I didn't understand what had happened. Right, one of the main things that can cause Hinamizawa syndrome to appear is times of severe stress. But Keiichi and Satoko, they wouldn't be under severe stress right now, would they? Well, what's wrong, Satoko? Or the fact that it could be physical touch to her head could be making her relive something traumatic that literally happened last night after the probation officer left. But what's wrong, Satoko? At some point, her body had been covered in a thin layer of sweat, and her breathing had turned ragged. When I pet her head, did she not like it? Was that what it meant? Hey, did you dislike being petted? Once again, slowly I held up the palm of my hand and brought it close to Satoko's head. The instant the palm of my hand touched her head, she's having some sort of trauma response. There was a shock like static electricity, and Satoko began to howl. Yeah. Thud, slam. She grabbed my arm in both hands, and as if flinging off a snake trying to cling to her, and as if trying to throw away something dirty, she threw it violently. It happened too suddenly for me to react. I hit the desk behind me, and both it and I fell to the floor. The classroom fell deathly silent. As Satoko bellowed, it sounded like she was in the throes of death, and she unsteadily backed away. Then she threw up the food she'd just eaten. She vomited it all back up. Splish, splat. The sound of Satoko's vomit hitting the floor rang through the classroom. Are you okay, Satoko? You seem sick. Yeah. I reached out a hand and she swatted it away with all her might, with such extreme strength that I fell onto the floor again. Satoko put both hands on her head as though protecting it, groaned some more, and took a few steps back. And then she began swinging both hands around. Students in nearby seats were forced to evacuate. She grabbed anything within reach, bento boxes, chairs, threw them, tossed them, and flung them about. Wait, stop it. Satoko! What? What's wrong with you? She screamed out as if Mion's word had caused her physical pain. No one spoke a word to her. All the students were withdrawing behind us, leaving Satoko alone in the corner of the classroom. Around her, their desks and chairs all over the floor, bento lay scattered. It was terrible. All I could hear was Satoko's ragged breaths and the voices of the cicadas. I'm sorry. The strings of tension loosened around Satoko, and maybe she suddenly grew scared of her own actions because she started trembling and gave a word of apology. But nobody knew just who that apology was directed towards. So for now, I decided to answer as everyone's representative. No, it's fine. Are you all right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Our words didn't match each other at all. Satoko hugged her shoulders, and back she went. Bang! She ran into the locker with the cleaning supplies in it. Even that made her give a little yelp. The impact caused the bucket atop the locker to fall, making a sound, and that scared Satoko most of all. She almost jumped out of her skin, grabbing a bunch of the curtain in her hands. Nobody spoke to her. They could only look, not even remembering to blink. Ooh, I'm sorry. It wasn't me. Satoko? What? What on earth? I stood up, took a step away from everyone, and approached Satoko. What happened? I said, I don't know. You're wrong. Please stop. Please forgive me. Just calm down. Satoko, do you know who I am? No more. I hate this. Every time I took a step forward, she grasped the curtains more tightly and cried out, Satoko, it's me, Keiichi. Don't you recognize me? I would never, ever hurt you. No. Wah. Come on, calm down. It's all right. I'm your friend. Help me. I don't want to be scared. It feels bad. No, I don't. Wah. Suddenly my shoulders were grabbed and I was dragged backwards. Hello? It was Rena. Sorry, Keiichi-kun. You get a little further back. Why? After pulling me back, she ran towards Satoko in my place. Okay, it's okay, Satoko-chan. There's nothing to be scared of. If it helps, it helps. I'm just confused. Please don't worry. No more. No more of that. Nini, help me. Nini, help me. As she gripped the curtains and kept calling for Nini, she continued to wail about being forgiven for something and to be saved from something. What is this? Mion gnashed her teeth and groaned, and there were tears falling from her firmly closed eyes. What the hell? What is this? Didn't this all come to an end yesterday? Weren't we supposed to go back to our old lives? Mion! Crash. There was a crazy sound. Rena had taken the cleaning supply locker and kicked it down to the ground? Okay. Everyone stood surprised at Rena's unexpected act of brutality. After that, Rena embraced the bawling Satoko from behind and started crying with her stifled. Rena, what's wrong? Sorry. Keiichi-kun, be quiet for a minute. What is it now? What happened? What did Satoko tell you? What did you hear? Okay, so Satoko at least opened up to you about what occurred. You were extremely angry and emotional about what occurred. You displayed a bit of your anger on the cleaning supply locker and then are hugging her to comfort her about the thing that you will probably not tell me because... And Mion probably just figured it out on her own, hence the reaction she's having. Though I don't know if Rika understands what's occurring in this circumstance. Though again, things change in a lot of time loops. There's time loops where Rika is a god that's brutally murdering people, where Rena's sawing people to pieces, where Rika's drugging people, where Satogo gets a gun and is blowing people's brains out. There's even a part in one of the time loops where Rika and Satogo are cooking, and Satogo takes a frying pan that's burning red hot and smashes Rika-chan in the face with it full force, breaking her nose and badly burning her whole body, and then beating her the rest of the way to death. What did you hear? Shut the hell up. Oh. Okay. Okay. I told you to shut your mouth, asshole. Rena's raw, hostile emotion hit me like a brick. Okay. It was no more than a momentary howl of emotion for Rena, but it was more than that for me. She had shown me what was behind all that emotion and what was in her heart. Ooh, Satoko-chan. No more. Wah. Forgive us, we couldn't do anything for you. Forgive us. Nini. I'm sorry. I think Rena's the one saying sorry in this situation. Forgive us for being able to undo everything. Rena's words made me feel as though the blood vessels in the back of my head were suddenly all turning to ash. My vision grew distant, blurred with gray, and the world lost its color. I thought we could save Satoko, but though I knew it'd be sooner the better, I thought there was no time limit for doing that. I never even dreamed that we could be too late. I'd be making a huge mistake. I thought Satoko could be hurt, but never that she'd break. It was such a huge mistake. People, they break. Thinking that they don't is absolutely absurd. We needed to save Satoko. We needed to save her before she broke. That fatal lapse in awareness had brought this on. Whose fault was it? That went without saying. Mine. No ours? We all took on the duty of saving Satoko, but we were negligent to the point of laziness. In that sense, this was the inevitable result. Even if this didn't happen today, it happened tomorrow or the day after, the next week, we would have just sat around doing nothing until that day. Technically, there's nothing we can do. So, and usually, in real-life situations, when there are things you can do, even legally, they're usually not things that you would have been considered the best case scenario. Like, you can't make everything perfect. You have to make concessions. You have to make compromises. You have to understand, one, what it is you truly want, and understand that that's not possible. So then you have to choose the best possible option out of the options that exist. Because the main options that you would want to choose don't exist and are invalid choices. You simply have to look at what is the circumstance you're faced with, and what is the best possible choice. And the funny thing is, other people may even mock that choice you made, or think it was stupid, or say you should have done more. But when you know there was no other alternative, and if you had tried to do any of the other suggestions, it would have resulted in the terrible outcome you were trying to avoid. Sometimes there are no good decisions, Just, you're given a list of options and you have to pick. The only logical one. Even if everyone in the world decides to take some issue with it, or at least you can then look back on the decision you made and you know that you made the correct one. Because you know any other choice would have resulted in much worse circumstances. And you know that the bad situation did not come about because of anything you did. It was stuff beyond your control that you had nothing you could possibly have done to prevent it or stop it. You just had to do damage control. And to choose to make the decisions that avoid the worst outcomes. When, ideally, the best outcome is what you envisioned right from the start, but you realize that that's a complete impossibility. And that if you refuse to make the decision between the lesser outcomes, because you're so stubborn on wanting the best possible outcome, then the only reward you get for trying for the best possible outcome is that you are then given the worst possible outcome. So you have to take a little bit of initiative and make a decision to avoid the worst outcomes. And you can look back knowing that if you hadn't made the decisions you did, those worst outcomes would have occurred. And yet people will talk down to you that, why didn't you try for the best possible outcome? And the answer is because the people saying that don't live in reality and don't understand the circumstances. Pushing for that best outcome would have resulted in the worst possible outcome and unacceptable situations. So this was the obvious result. I slumped down to my knees, just as Mian and Rika-chan had done. And I too closed my eyes tight and couldn't stop myself from sobbing. What's all this noise about? Wait, what's happened? The teacher came and her face screwed up at the terrible spectacle before her. The instant she realized the teacher was here, Satoko went through another complete change. She wiped her face with the curtains and, like nothing happened, smiled. Hojo-san? What on earth is going on here? Oh, I just got into a little squabble with Rena-san, is all. We went a little crazy over our lunches. Right? Rena didn't nod in reply, but then since Satoko wished it, she nodded without strength. The rest of the class couldn't keep up her extreme changes. We all just stared into daze. Oh, it was just a little horseplay. I scared everyone out of their wits. Satoko would probably sweep the whole thing under the rug. For what? Her heart is torn to pieces. So what? What else? You wanted your needy to help, didn't you? But unfortunately for you, Satoshi doesn't ever intend to coming out. He is dead, by the way. It's never that easy. He won't just conveniently show up and save you. So you don't have to wait for him anymore. You can cry, beg for help, and you can run away. We can't do anything, Mian suddenly said. She spoke then, those few words that had tormented me countless times. Those words were a spell, and when I heard them, my whole body suddenly regained its calm. My emotions all slipped away like they'd never been there, like a wave departing. And then the world... What genre of music is this? I'm not saying it's bad, it's just very different from what we were just listening to. And then the world's color flipped inside out.